Hey MMT followers, Christina Fugis with Mold Making Technology and another quick MMT chat. My guest today is Brett West, who is one of the owners and the engineering and sales manager for Trifecta Tool Engineering in Kettering, Ohio. Now this shop has been involved with the Ohio Manufacturing Alliance in building a mold and also molding plastic parts for face shields, headbands. And he might correct me if I'm wrong. They also machined a 2-cavity mold in 8 days, and we're in full production on day 9, I think you said. And you're also currently building molds for oxygen valving components for some medical equipment. So before we get into that,
okay,
talk to me a little bit about since the COVID outbreak. So just to give us all a general sense of what it looks like at Trifecta, what has the impact been on business, on employee morale, and just generally speaking?
Well, business right now is we're still busy. We're not quoting too much new work at the moment, but we're still able to keep everybody employed, and we've been working through the entire crisis. Morale, everybody seems to be pretty upbeat. I know the PPE projects, everybody was really excited to be a part of that and to help as much as they could. So that was a really big morale booster.
Good. All right, so let's talk about your virus-related projects. So let's take them each at a time, and how did they come about?
Well, we were contacted by the University of Dayton, the Fast Lane group over there, which is a state-funded group inside the University of Dayton, and then to build the mold. And then they got, which is another entity, which is a sister entity to Fast Lane. It's called Magnet.
Okay.
They are who we molded the parts for, and they were managing the production of all the pieces and different companies around the state that were making the headbands and the face shields and the rubber band that went around your head.
Okay.
They managed all that, and then the distribution of all those pieces.
Okay. So you're making the headbands, right?
Yeah, the part that went around your head.
Yeah.
Our tool, we've met ours has been on build out. So ours has made 100,000 pieces.
Okay.
And I think around the state that they've made this whole project's made around 1 million.
Wow, that's wonderful to be a part of that. So what was the lead time for this project?
As fast as you could do it.
Yeah. So did you surprise yourself at how fast you got it done?
Oh yeah, we built the tool in 8 days.
Wow.
It was a 2-cavity tool we built in 8 days. And we were running it at 27-second cycle time. The fastest we could get it to run was 15 seconds.
Okay.
The parts wanted to stick a little bit, so we weren't trying to break any speed records. We just needed to get the parts built.
Exactly. So how does the mold complexity, how does this project compare to what you typically do? So to give us a snapshot of, the speed with which you did it, how does that compare to what you would typically do with a mold?
Oh, it's much simpler than what we normally do. Normally I think this part, if you fit it in a normal schedule, probably would have took 4 weeks.
Okay.
But we stopped everything to get this done.
So was all hands on deck?
Yes, everybody was involved in it.
Okay. Was there anything in particular about the process and your people that you learned going through this? Like a lot of shops are learning what they're actually capable of, even though it's an extraordinary circumstance, right? But they're figuring out a step in the process, a certain technology, a certain person maybe, rose to the occasion in this area that they typically don't work in. So did you learn anything about your people or your process that you're hoping to change moving forward as we get back to the new normal?
Well, it would be nice if they would all work that fast all the time.
Blame the people, Brett.
Probably not going to, but
right.
We can. We do know now that we didn't even polish this tool. We put such a fine finish on it that it didn't need polished.
Wow, there you go.
I could have ran faster cycles if I had polished it. We could have ran down at 15 seconds. We know that it'll run that fast, but it wanted to stick a little bit. if you ran that fast, and we didn't want to have to go back in and work on it more, because our job was to get, parts made as fast as we could, not to break cycle time records.
Yeah, exactly. Was there any holdup to achieving this in terms of your supply chain and what you needed to build those tools?
No.
No, everybody came through?
Yep.
That's good. So what do you think was tested the most or stretched in terms of your process and people?
My nerves.
It had to help a little bit that this is such a meaningful, I mean, I would imagine many products that you make are meaningful on some level, but this was such a meaningful project to have your whole team involved in. It has to help somewhat with, your stress level or just getting it done, right?
Yeah, there were so many eyes on it, and there was, when we took it up to the molder, they had newspaper people there, and it was stressful just to watch. There was cameras there watching the very first shots off the thing.
Oh, wow.
Which was
wow, I didn't realize that. So that's a local news thing was happening?
Yeah.
That's good though. That's good to shine a light on what you guys do every day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
To give you some recognition.
I'm really hoping out of this whole thing that people will realize the really huge need for mold makers and die makers and people in the skilled trades, because we've been so reliant on China now for the last 30 years to build these things, that it's become a problem. We've been building components for existing tools.
Okay.
Not many new ones yet. I'm sure that going forward here, I'm hoping there's going to be more things being built here. I know I just got done quoting some medical parts that they asked specifically to be made here in the United States, which is
that they typically would offshore it.
Yes.
Aha, see, that's what we need. That's what we need, is at least them starting to do their homework and learning what the true cost is. So talk a little bit about the other mold, the molds for the oxygen valving components. What is that? And yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Those tools they're done and out in production, but I don't know exactly what they go to, but it's some type of valve. It's a hand valve where you turn off and on oxygen.
Okay.
And that was in the end user was for, well, maybe I probably shouldn't say, I guess, but a big company.
A big company. So is that like a respirator or something?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, just some sort of medical equipment. Okay. And it's fascinating, all the different, you're right, components to all these things. You might not be building the mold for an actual piece of equipment, but all the components that are going within this piece of equipment. So someone's got to bring that all together. So do you have any particular tips for other shops as we move through this virus to getting through it on the financial side, on the business side, on the people side?
Get my list here.
I like you prepared. That's good. I like that.
I'm saying keep your lines of communication open with your team. Practice, safety guidelines, and just continue to move forward, because we're all in this together, and we're just going to have to get through it.
Yeah.
My hope is that there's going to be a pretty big reshoring effort to bring more mold making and die making back to America and more production back here. As far as how things are done in the shop, I don't think it's going to change really much, because we've been using pretty advanced processes anyway over the years. I don't think we're going to actually change too much as far as the mold building goes in this shop. other than probably speed, now that I know they can build a mold in 8 days.
Exactly. Right, exactly. Telling you, that's a big factor. That's why I think really dissecting how that was able to happen, regardless of it being a simpler job for you guys, you still, like, there's got to be little nuggets there where you can tweak something here. We used to do that all the time. Maybe we don't need to do that. And that'll help us meet, exceed our customers' expectations. Because I keep thinking, you said it now. Your customers now know that you can do it. So now expectations are at a certain point. It's like, and they don't care that it was an extraordinary time, right? They know Trifecta can do it. So you got to follow through.
Well, yeah, I had that conversation when we took that mold up to be sampled on the very first day. Was, whoa, we know you can build a mold in 8 days now. We're going to expect more out of you now.
It's like, how can you turn that into a positive, because that can very quickly go the wrong way if you don't
Sure.
reset expectations, right?
You can't do everything in 8 days. I mean,
no, there's no way, especially when most of you are, it sounds like it's an all hands on deck scenario because of the urgency, the importance of that particular job. Like, that doesn't happen every day.
We dropped everything to make that happen. Everybody else's project was put on hold.
Yeah.
I think as people get comfortable with doing online, I don't see a problem why it just can't stay that way. I mean, why can't it?
You won't miss the handshake and the personal, connection that you can make, to me, when you're in front of somebody, sharing a drink or sharing a meal, right? Or getting a demo.
But if you use cameras like we've got, well, it's like you're right there.
It actually, think about it, during this whole crisis, people are having virtual happy hours and virtual networking events. So there is something to that, I guess. It would just be, I would miss it. I do miss being out in the world, meeting people, but we are lucky we have this as a substitute.
I know I was on a webinar the other day where it was on a Friday and they were talking about happy hour, and there was people that put beach backgrounds in there.
Yeah.
And margaritas and
yeah. You can be wherever you want to be, right? Just change your background.
Yeah, it was fun.
Point. So is there anything else you want to share about Trifecta or about the crisis we're going through, and any advice or
well, the only thing I really wanted to talk about, and which I've already brought this up 2 or 3 times, was the real need to bring mold making and die making back from China, because we just can't be dependent on a communist country to build things for us.
Yep. So I want to thank you, Brett, for your time today and sharing a little bit of your story during these crazy times that we're in. So thank you again. And remember, for everything mold making, everybody out there, visit moldmakingtechnology.com. And everybody, please stay safe and stay healthy.